On the sports talk show of the SoCon. My name is Marky Billson. Here we go. All right. His name is Greg Gary. The Tennessee fans know his name all too well from the NCAA tournament. The ETSU fans hope that they don't know him in the same regard. He is the new head men's basketball coach at Mercer, and he joins us here on Tri-City Sports Now. And I guess where to begin? You come from the Big Ten Conference, certainly a major basketball conference. The Southern Conference seems to be on the upswing, but then again, it could go either way. What with two coaching changes in the league, a lot of stars departing, schools much like the one that you inherit, Mercer, that I think a lot of people say could go either way. So I want to ask you, as you take over this job, what do you think the state of the Southern Conference is going to be in the future? Do you think it could be a two-bid league in the future?
Well, the one thing that attracted me obviously was the SoCon, but you saw this year there was talk of the conversation was multi-team getting in, so I think we just got to keep riding that, and we got to keep keep that energy and go with obviously the better we do, and things get going. I think it's a positive. So yes, that has to be our expectations, and I know ETSU and Steve Forbes has done a great job. The SoCon's got high level coaching. So I'm excited to be a part of it. And to answer your question, yes, that is what we have to strive for. And it helps because that was the conversation this last March Madness.
I can remember when Mercer and ETSU were even big rivals in the Atlantic Sun Conference about a decade ago, and going down to Macon, Georgia, coming away with NCAA tournament berths and all this for the Buccaneers. But Mercer, like I said, they've been a program that I think has kind of been up and down. Certainly they're down in that you were able to get the job this year here. Greg Gary, late of Purdue, as an assistant coach. So I want to ask you, what do you think about the team that you've inherited? How far away do you think you are from, let's say, contending in the SoCon? What do you have to do that?
We got to add some pieces, but I've had just really 1 week of workouts, so I think I got to see some more, to be honest with you. We do have some good pieces coming back. We just have to add to them, and that's what we're doing in this recruiting period that started yesterday. Is adding some more depth and some more pieces, but I'm not getting into all that. We got to get some players, and we got to get to work. I've been here a week, so we will continue to get better as much as we can whenever we're allowed to practice, and we're going to bring in players for the next month during this signing period, and hopefully get better.
Is there a region of the country, now you're in Georgia, but is there a region in the country that you'd like to try to recruit? Is there a place, Greg Gary, you come from Indiana, could we possibly see players from Indiana come to Mercer? I don't know, Louisiana, like you were when you were the coach at Centenary? Where's the big recruiting fertile ground for Greg Gary?
Obviously, Georgia being close to 2-hour radius. There's a lot of players in this area, and I've already yesterday, recruiting wise, I've already been out, and again, I'm on my way here shortly to hit Georgia as well. You can find them there, and obviously I've got connections and ties to Indiana and Louisiana and Florida, so we just have to get the best ones we can, no matter where they are. But at the same time, I do think we have to make sure we comb through the whole state of Georgia, just because of the closeness and them getting here to see their families, be able to see them. I think that's always a plus.
Sure, you always want to have your local area and be the big school there. We're talking to Greg Gary. He's the new basketball coach at Mercer. You used to be the head basketball coach at Centenary, the Gentleman. And most people would know that as being the University of Robert Parrish from back in the day. But when you got there, it was kind of a going out of business sale. I think you were there for 2 years, couple of losing records, tough years. And really, I've got to give you the benefit of the doubt, because I know that after you left, only about a year later, Centenary dropped out of Division I. and such. So I want to ask you, I mean, that had to be a tough job to take, and, you know, you had to feel like the walls were closing around you when you were a head coach the first time in D1. What do you see are the more significant changes at Mercer than when you were the coach at Centenary?
Well, there's not really a comparison. And when I got the Centenary job, Billy Kennedy had won there, Kevin Johnson had won there, so I felt like they could win there. But I didn't realize after 1 year they were going to declassify to Division III. Happens, guys can transfer and play immediately somewhere else. And the second year I stayed, I still had to play a Division I schedule with very few players. So it's a lot different. There's no comparison between Centenary and here. They want basketball to win. The support is there. The athletic director, the president, the community is behind it. There were a lot of boxes that checked off when this job came. A great place.
Well, what kind of style? What's the strategy of Greg Gary? I mean, do you like to shoot a lot of threes, play up tempo? I don't know. Would you like? What's your basic philosophy in terms of basic basketball strategy? What can we look for the Bears next year?
It's going to depend on this personnel. That's what it's going to depend on. And we had big guys, the 7-footers, and NBA players at the post position. We threw the ball inside a lot. When those guys weren't there, and then we had Carson Edwards and we had some other shooters, we ran a lot of different action to get our shooters open. So it depends. You can't just stick to one specific, hey, this is how I'm going to play, and don't have the personnel to do that. That doesn't make sense. So I'm going to have to not make that decision right now. Going to have to get some more practices in. Going to have to get a few more guys to add to the pie, and then figure it out from there. But that won't be an issue. I do know grit. We're going to have some toughness, and that I do know.
Well, I want to see recruit. Would it be more the best available athlete, or I know Steve Forbes would never admit this, but he's going to have 3 players 6'10" or over that can play in the paint next year, and so I think he still believes in the big center, that sort of thing. What about you? Is there a certain style of player that you like to have, or would you go guard heavy, center heavy, or is it just best available athlete?
Best available. It does not. We can be successful either way. I hope he plays all 3 of those guys. Will he play them all 3 together?
You'd have to ask him. I know it seems like it seems a lot like he said the personnel that's up against us, that sort of thing.
Right. Exactly. He's done he's done a great job there, and so I don't have a specific style. I mean, if everybody wants to know that, it depends. I know this. I want probably our best players to shoot the most.
Mm-hmm. There you
Right, no. As long as it's a good shot and it's a rhythm shot and we're passing the ball around, getting the best shot we can, I want the highest percentage shot. So,
Hey, I've got about a minute here left as we stay over here, but Bob Hoffman was known for jawing with ETSU fans, so I got to ask you, Greg Gary, when's the last time you took a technical?
I don't know if I got one. I might have gotten one when I was sitting there. I got one there.
Okay.
But that's been a long time ago. But I'm gonna fight for my guys. But that doesn't. I mean, we have to coach the team up. I've heard that quite a bit. He must have got after referees pretty good.
I'm trying to remember it myself. A team that I thought was very demonstrative last year, and I actually talked to him about it on the show, was Wes Miller's UNCG team. I thought that they were the real trash talkers and all carbs, and I think they liked it with Bob Hoffman. He is the new Mercer head coach, Greg Gary. This is Tri-Cities Sports Now. Colin Coward is going to come. Bonkowski comes back to talk NASCAR. We'll have Joe Panucci, the ETSU baseball coach, and SoCon John Hooper. Okay. What I want to ask you here is if this is for our Facebook right now, because I also put the show on Facebook. So can you stay with me through Facebook for a couple more questions I want to ask you?
Sure.
Okay, one question I want here is, I'm not sure you're aware of this, but Macon in the Southern team. And I know that it seems odd, if you've ever been to Cullowhee, North Carolina, that's the 38th largest TV market. And so the question that I got is, I know that the Southern Conference has got to look ahead and B, for their TV deal. I'm not sure maybe what... well, I just to point this out to you, you know, that's where revenue will come from. That's why you would think that, therefore, the Southern Conference would be promoting its large markets, which, believe it or not, Western is a part of, and so is Wofford, and you know. Anyway, you get the idea what I'm asking here. Question this: is it a hindrance or a help?
I don't get caught up in that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think it's that's for other people to worry about. My job is to put a product on the court that wins. Love to come watch. That's I think the other stuff will. If you do those things and win games, then I think you know you will have they'll have some more pub coming your way and more publicity and more of that stuff. I can't get into that. I got enough things.
Yeah, it's not like it's a Major League Baseball team is basically what you're telling me. Okay, so, you know, and that makes a lot of sense here. I also, though, wanted to ask you, and this is the last thing, you come from Purdue.
Absolutely. Well, the people actually think it's not a foul. Like, I mean, it's been slowed down so many times. I mean, it's really very entertaining if someone says that's not a foul. It was clearly a foul.
Welcome to East Tennessee. I tell you, they get on referees here more than any other place I've ever been, okay? Which, by the way, includes Louisiana. That's kind of how I knew a little bit about Centenary, because I used to be the broadcaster of a baseball team there, a minor league baseball team from Centenary, and they had been through the change and all that, and that's one of the reasons college from Centenary when we went that way. So there you go. That was one of the things, right? The old Alexandria, Louisiana Aces that didn't actually make it for the entire season. So anyway, I will be in touch here. Okay. Thank you for your time today. All right. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Mark.
Sure. Bye-bye.